Hello! I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great weekend. So it's been a couple of days since I've recorded a video and I've missed doing it actually. So I'm going to make this the last of the What If series and move on to all kinds of other topics, the endless number of topics that we can discuss here. But today, to finish off the what if scenario, I'd like you to ask yourself and to consider, what if taking care of yourself was the singular, most important, effective, and impactful thing that you could do for everyone else in and around you? So this is a topic that can be quite challenging, especially for mothers. Because as a mother myself, the instinct within us, that maternal instinct and that drive to take care of, protect, and basically do as much as we possibly can for our children is so strong. And I am not suggesting that we not take care of our children. And of course, the younger your children are, the more daily attention they need. There is no doubt about that. But as our children grow, they require us to work on methods of child rearing that encourage them to become independent rather than dependent upon us over the long term. And it's a tricky path to follow, especially as those kids start to get a bit older and we notice that they actually naturally tend to detach somewhat from us as they grow in their own independence. And while it's certainly new for them to navigate, it can be exciting and natural for them to do it. I personally found that the more challenging part is as a parent to allow that to happen. Not only allow it, but to encourage it. So as a parent, as a mother, I know that the idea that just taking care of myself would be the best thing that I could do for my children and my spouse and my friends and my siblings and my parents and all of those other connections that we have. This statement can very well be true. Because when we start to look after ourselves, and that means on a mental, an emotional, a physical, and a spiritual level, we are able to show up as the best version of ourselves. And when we show up as the best version of ourselves, we're able to give that energy to those that we love. And of course, when we negate our needs, because we think that's the thing to do, to give up our free time, to give up our maybe hobbies and passions, to give up our time. I guess actually in the end, we tend to give up time to others and to other pursuits outside of things that very succinctly make us happy and healthy, then we are doing a disservice to those around us. And, we see it in so many areas. And what's even sort of more important to have a look at is how we end up using those external circumstances as our excuses for not taking care of ourselves. And in fact, there is no excuse for not taking care of ourselves, except that we either were not taught to, or we've forgotten, or we have some challenging circumstances in and around our own personal lives and space, and maybe unresolved issues, unresolved emotions, things like that. And instead of stopping to take the time to address them and to investigate and see how to heal and to improve them, we deflect our energy out to others so that we in fact don't have to look at the issues that are most pressing, to being our best self, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So we let our physical health go because we're too busy to exercise. We let our emotional health go by not stopping long enough in our day, by taking on that doing behavior and not stopping to be and be within ourselves and to take the time to check in with ourselves. Often, again, that's done through meditation, for example, stopping long enough to really understand what's going on with us. And we can push feelings and emotions and resentments and all kinds of stuff that we actually may have within us, but we're not processing that. We're pushing it down and away by doing. The other thing, of course, that we can do to push down and to not take care of our mental and emotional health in particular, but also our physical health, is picking up substances that help us to ignore or not feel our feelings or our emotions. So alcohol is a typical one. Drugs, prescription drugs, marijuana, other things. And all of those other sort of addictive behaviors that I've mentioned in the past, you're probably very familiar with. Shopping, eating, all the stuff that we're doing to push away feelings and emotions that need to be processed. Sorry, I'm going to have to cough. Anyhow, so that's how this process begins of not taking care of ourselves. And in so doing, our physical, mental, spiritual, emotional health suffers. We become more short-tempered because we're not getting enough sleep. We also can react poorly in various circumstances. Our patience can be tested more than it might, and so on, by not eating well. It doesn't give us the energy that we need. It doesn't give us the ability to have the stamina to do the things we're attempting to do, or to even have that extra energy to do those things for ourselves at some point in the day. So our physical health is waning, and without energy, our mental health is impacted, and our emotional health. Of course, they're all connected. And it doesn't really matter which one you look at. And it also doesn't matter, for example, you might be able to say, well, I exercise. But exercise in and of itself, without time for self-reflection and doing some internal work, because the physical is still the external of us. And it is important, and it gives us the energy to do that additional work. But it can't be the only thing. So you may say, I meditate, or I exercise, or I eat pretty well. But if you're not connecting all of those together at some level and looking for some balance in that area, we're not really mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually present and at our best in order to do our best for those around us. In the end, all four of these things meld together to give us this energetic vibration that we are living on. And again, when we're not taking care of ourselves, our energy is low, our vibration is low, and unfortunately, that's all that we're able to truly give to those around us. So this is not what we want to give. We want to give that high level joy, happiness, positive mindset. These are the types of things we want to give to our spouse and to our children and to our friends. And when we are not practicing this for ourselves, it's impossible to give to other people. We also fall into these modes of complaining, of seeing everything from sort of a negative viewpoint, and that rubs off onto the people around us. And certainly I can look back specifically on the raising of my children when there were times when I do believe I was actively paying attention, at least doing my best to bring forth good attitude and good energy. But there were other times when my energy was not good, and it immediately and very directly affected the energy of my children as well. And I can tell you that even if they're not voicing these sorts of concerns or effects that may be brought upon them by our negative energy, eventually it will come up. And certainly as they start to become adult, unless they've really been taught to never discuss their feelings and emotions, and hopefully that's not the case. And again, you need to be discussing your feelings and emotions in order to encourage them to do that as well. Can't ask your kids to share, and to be open with all of that stuff while we're shut down. That won't work. So anything we want for our children, our friends, our spouse, our colleagues, we need to be doing ourselves. So even with our own feelings and emotions and the way in which we communicate, we need to be as healthy as possible to affect that, to give that to others around us. And I know that my children, certainly in their early adult years, have shared with me certain things that went on within our family unit that they today find have residual effects on their ability to function or interact with other people, or just they're finding that these are the roadblocks that they're having to work on now that they can kind of trace backwards. And you know, we could say that they may blame others, and that's a journey they also have to go on. But when children are young, we can't expect them to be doing sort of all the right things. They're looking to us, and they're emulating us. They're emulating what we say, how we act, and how we behave. So when we take care of ourselves, imagine that these children will learn to take care of themselves. Or we take care of ourselves, and amazingly, our spouse starts taking better care of himself. And this is all by themselves, without our interference, without our pressure, without our encouragement, which sometimes can sound like ultimatums. You know, there's a fine line with parents encouraging their children versus really instructing them on what to do. And again, we have to walk the talk if we actually hope that those around us are going to change their behavior or improve some of their actions or behaviors. Again, knowing we never change another person. It is impossible. But our example will be that which they are absorbing on an energetic level. And that is the best that we can give of ourselves ever in any circumstance. So I hope that made some sense. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Whatever that means to you, that would include things like coaching, any sort of therapy that you might need, having a personal trainer if you're having a tough time getting into that sort of fitness routine all on your own. Or some life coaches will also help with that fitness area. I certainly help my clients with that. I'll help them in any area that they feel that they are needing support in. And also, part of that process is actually stopping to identify clearly what areas of your life are going well and which areas need to be, or you would like to be, improved. So that's all self-care. Self-exploration, self-awareness, and building that is all self-care. And it's all important. So that's what I have to share today. I hope you found some value in it, and I will see you again.